This is the only time that I have ever suspected that a convention was a scam.
Hey, you guys want to see what happens when you don't promote a boat show and no one knows you're having it? It's empty.
Can you believe I got all this for only $63?
Okay, so today we have another round of festivals and conventions that are either not worth the price, run extremely poorly, or just a straight up scam. It still amazes me how often this happens. There are so many different examples online being uploaded constantly, and because of that, we have a ton of stuff to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just start off with some of the conventions.
This is the only time that I have ever suspected that a convention was a scam. It's also the only time I ended up crying alone at my booth. I've ended at about 30 events this year, and Anime Market Sacramento was my 9th and the worst. There were no attendees, point blank. There was no advertising for the show, there were no attendees. Artists all paid $250 to $1,500. These were also super widely spaced, people kept coming up behind me, it was weird. Turns out the con runner wasn't even in the country. This is just speculation, but it does seem that they took the money and ran. Except, I won my charge back. Turns out it's run by Doki Doki Anime Market in Singapore. This owner has a track record.
So as you just heard at the end of that clip, it seems like this has become somewhat of a business. Organizing all of these conventions, being able to take a ton of money from vendors, I mean $250 to $1,500 per. And yeah, you could rent out a warehouse space for a day or maybe a weekend. Nobody shows up, the marketing is terrible, you pocket the money and on to the next one. I am glad that she was able to get her money back at the end of the day, but that doesn't happen too often. Many vendors and possible attendees that do show up just get their money taken from their wallet and they're completely screwed. I asked you guys in an older video, have you ever been to a festival or convention that you regret going to? Foodie Land was super hot and very crowded. Most of the food was indeed mid, tried out the pasta, which was okay, and the oysters, which were bad. We have our own little subsection about food in this video we'll talk about a little bit later. I went to a Harry Potter event in Austin, Texas. It was just a mile-long trail with speakers that had characters saying lines from the movie. There was mostly just gift shops and stuff like butterbeer, which was just overpriced caramel water. More local and casual events are looking like this lately. Overpriced goods, long lines, limited or poor parking makes you want to stay home. I'm not even attending our small town fair. Fairs used to offer good food at decent prices, but not anymore. Too expensive all around. Again, something we're going to talk about in this video. California State Fair in Sacramento 2025. Aside from the oppressive heat, the food and drinks were way overpriced. They were charging $10+ for non-alcoholic drinks that were just loaded with sugar. Beers were also $15, cocktails started at $20, $25 for bland barbecue sandwiches, $40 for the lukewarm bland ribs, $10 to $15 for a caramel apple. This one kind of hits close to home where I used to live. I went to a Latin food festival at the American Dream Mall in New Jersey. For me, it was a waste of money, $20 to get in, and then you had to pay for parking on top of it. The food was mid, nothing special you could find any day of the week. I paid $6 for lukewarm Mexican corn. Never again. But we'll go back over to some of the conventions where almost all of the vendors are selling the same things.
At Rose City Comic Con today, and we are going to count how many booths have Labubus, Funko Pops, or 3D printed slop. There is a vendor here in the exhibitors hall who sells fake Sunny Angels, and if you're a consumer, I don't care if you buy like fake merchandise. Does your money do what you want, boo? But I feel like if you are a vendor, especially in the exhibitors hall, you should be selling real, true merchandise. But I've seen her at 3 conventions. She pisses me off every time I see her. And I know they're fake because, one, I'm a Sunny Angel collector, so like I know what a real Sunny Angel looks like. But also, she's in the exhibitors hall and she has a no recording policy, which is just sus. Like, if you are reselling merchandise, why do you have a no filming policy? Like, that's just weird and a red flag to me. I hate her. I've seen her 3 different times. I saw her out of state too.
Okay, so a couple things here. If you're telling people that you're not allowed to record the booth while you're also selling fake items, I mean, how obvious can you really get? I don't know how she hasn't been reported to the people who organize these conventions. You're not allowed to sell fake items in general, and funny enough, I had no idea what Sunny Angels were in general, but the last video that I uploaded on my main channel talked about them, and then right after figuring out what they are, we're talking about them again, but somebody's selling fake versions of them. That's crazy. Along with, of course, all the other vendors just selling selling Funko Pops, Labubus, just the same crap. You could add in a bunch of AI slop, any of the 3D printed stuff. There are a lot of clips on TikTok like what's up on screen right now. Nobody bought this lady's AI slop for the entire 4-hour duration of this holiday market. Life is good. Another one here, ultimate rage bait, being across from the AI slop at the artist market. Almost every single market and festival we've attended in the last 2 years is 70% MLM or AI. It's infuriating to the point where I'm afraid to buy any prints because I know I'm so bad at noticing AI, and don't get me started with the fake crochet. Now, keeping on the topic of selling fake merchandise, we have a wild example right here.
You won't believe it, but here's a scam inside of the Canton Fair or any expo you go to in China. Let me try to get a focus on that. So this woman here is selling scarves, but that is not her booth. So these are name brand scarves. I won't say what brands. They're designer scarves, but they're only 100 RMB. Another one here. Here's another one behind me. So what these people do is they take advantage of the end of the show, usually on the last day of any expo or fair, at around 1 to 2 p.m. The exhibitors have already started to pack up and they've gone home. So these guys will come out with for sale signs as if they're selling sample stock, and they're selling all these famous brands. I got fleeced at the Shanghai Beauty Expo last year because I thought I bought Dior perfume for 20 bucks, but it wasn't Dior perfume for 20 bucks, okay? So this is crazy. They literally find fake exhibitor badges. They come into the expo, they steal someone's closed booth, pretend to be a manufacturer, and then they will sell you fake designer goods as if they are the manufacturer for these companies.
And a comment from you guys goes very well with this clip. Turns out con isn't short for convention at all. That is crazy, the lengths that they'll go through to sell fake designer items and not even admitting it. At least if you go to Canal Street, you know all the items you're getting are fake. You don't really care if you're purchasing it. The seller obviously knows. But this one, they're trying to make it look like they're the original manufacturers of it. I got an ID badge and we're in a booth. That's just nuts. This is just hurting the entire convention scene as a whole, along with some of the ridiculous resale prices you're seeing.
I am never gonna buy an anime figure at a convention. This Egghead Luffy figure was going for $50. Meanwhile, the exact same figure is 1,500 yen or $10 on Suragaya. I understand these people have to make a living and get their bag, but they're not getting it from me. I'm sorry.
And I do understand that as well. If you have an item that's a little bit more desirable or maybe older, it's just rare, you'd of course sell it for a higher price. But if you could get this figure for a fraction of the price online, what's the point of buying it from one of these vendors? But we'll transition over to some of the county fairs with this comment from you guys. Even the county fairs are a joke nowadays. $15 for a sausage sandwich, $12 for an ice cream cone. What are they thinking?
This fair is absolutely mind-blowing. So I had to pay admission to get into the fair, plus parking. Then you had to buy the wristbands for unlimited rides. Then we go to get on to a ride and we're told that we don't have the wristband for the rides. And we're like, what? We bought unlimited. Apparently you have to buy 2 different wristbands because some of the rides are for one, some of the rides are for other. How is that unlimited?
Now, I'm not sure which state fair she's talking about, but one of them that's made waves recently is the Texas State Fair. That was just a mess. It was ridiculously expensive. I mean, there's a clip up on screen right now. This is how much I spent at the state fair. Just to park, it was $40. Admission, 2 adults and a kid, another 76 bucks. Tickets, $160 for 160 tickets. And that was the only way to purchase a lot of things at the fair. The strawberry lemonade was $6. Biscoff cheesecake was 16 bucks. Tornado potato, 10 bucks. Corn on the cob, another $10. Pineapple whip, $15. Quesadilla, another 15 bucks. Turkey leg, $22. Cotton candy, $6. And by the end of it, they spent over $400 for a single day at the fair. That is absolutely insane to me. $411 to walk around and eat some food. All these prices are why people aren't going anymore. $40 to park, $15 for ice cream. This is why I stopped going to the state fair. $76 for just tickets. And that's why, again, there are a lot of clips like this on social media. The fair on a Friday night, actual concern. Basically, nobody's there. It looks like a ghost town. Another example right here, 2025 Texas State Fair during the day. Looks like nobody is there. Here we have an example of one of the holiday events that definitely did not seem to be worth it. 3 hours to get in and another 2 hours to get out. This was at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You were able to drive around the track. There was a whole bunch of light up snowflakes and trees, but honestly, it doesn't doesn't look that great, especially for how long it took to get in. On top of the next clip, each car was 50 bucks. Buses were $175 to see that. I'm not gonna lie, that does not seem worth it to me. But now we'll head over to some of the food examples.
Hey, can you believe I got all this for only $63? This is a steal.
So that was recorded at the last SEMA event, 63 bucks for 2 sandwiches. I mean, I get it. If you're at a very big event or a high traffic area, the barrier to get in is going to be very expensive. I mean, we could take a look at this example.
We've been hearing you think prices are a little steep at Union Square Holiday Market. Here's why. So the cost of entry for vendors is
$20,000 minimum.
For me, it costs about $22,000 just to be in this space for 6 weeks. On top of that cost, the space comes bare bones. We have to hire a contractor and buy all of the materials to build out our little mini restaurant in 2 days. And then on top of that, most vendors, small businesses are renting a commissary kitchen where you pay rent there to use the kitchen, pay rent for storage space, dry storage, freezer space, and refrigerator space. But what makes it worth it is you'll find unique vendors making one-of-a-kind, delicious, handcrafted, house-made food that you can't find anywhere else.
Okay, so I bet that the food is pretty good, but her talking about people complaining that the prices were steep, along with any of the clips that they showed in the video not actually showing the prices of all the food and drinks that they were selling, is never a good sign. I don't know how $22,000 is worth it for 6 weeks, but whether your food is good or not, those prices in this economy is just going to push a lot of people away. I mean, we have another example here, pretty crazy one. The ridiculous food prices at EDC. 6 empanadas for 50 bucks, 10 taquitos for 50, and 10 normal tacos for 70 bucks. A whole pizza being $96 after tax, you're talking $100. Sushi platter, 6 rolls, $100 again. And one of the comments from this video makes a very good point. Notice how empty their stalls are. $100 for pizza is actually insane. And we also have another comment from you guys here. There's also farmers market scams where they buy wholesale veggies and fruits and upsell them saying it's organic. We've gone over that in an entire dedicated video on this channel. But regardless how much these vendors pay for their locations, if the prices are too high, people are just not going to show up and purchase.
I'm at this market right now that I paid $300 for the table, and it is currently 4 out of the 5 hours in, and I've made $120. So I'm not gonna make the amount of money that I paid to be here back, because there's like nobody here and it's not my demographic. But what can you do?
Honestly, I used to love markets. Now they're filled with 3D printed junk and they don't feel worth going to. Even the creator responds, "I saw so much Temu stuff, it drives me crazy." Too many markets, too many people monetizing hobbies, too many people reselling Temu items. I used to love doing markets and going to them, but it's too hard to find good ones. But we'll go over to this next example with the opposite problem happening. There were so many people that showed up to this and it was very poorly run that it was basically a complete waste of time.
This is Panda Fest yesterday, so this is the line. We showed up about 5:45. Our tickets were for 6 p.m. When we arrived, the parking situation was a complete nightmare. I think they had a total of 3 parking decks that were jam-packed full of people. They had no one directing traffic. And yeah, it was like a free-for-all. So once, after an hour of sitting in traffic, we finally got to park. We walked down a quarter of a mile or so to find this line that you're seeing.
So the whole rest of the clip is him just walking down the entire line, waiting a little bit and realizing that they're not getting in. They just left. Complete waste of time and money. Apparently the fire marshal shut down the entire event as well because so many showed up. Just another example of organizers and promoters getting way over their head. And at least for this specific event, we've gone over it before. Panda Fest, where I'm not going to lie, the prices of the food that you could get there were off the charts. It really didn't seem worth it to me back then, along with having to wait in that kind of line, but we could go over to the comments. All the food events that I've been to in Charlotte were disappointing. Poor management, super long lines, and overpriced food. There you go. I'm all about supporting local businesses, but this was just not worth it. Promoters, in quotations, for these types of events are just hustlers who don't know what they're doing and trying to make quick, dirty money. We went today, paid for tickets to get in, paid for the overpriced food, and very crowded. Very small venue, nothing for kids. We left and went to a Chinese restaurant. We have another example from you guys right here. I love ice cream. I made the mistake of going to an ice cream festival. While standing in line for my third tiny scoop of ice cream, it dawned on me that I'm an adult, and if I wanted to spend a weekend eating 10 real scoops a day at 10 different places, I could do that anytime I want without all the nonsense. And especially with the prices they're charging for these events and festivals, I would say you'd probably do cheaper on your own.
If anybody has given money to Witches Brew LLC to book an event as a vendor, get your money back now. It's a scam. Their next event, called Carnival de la Lune, is listed as being at the Heritage Museum OC, which has no listings for that day, September 6th, for this company, and in fact, does have a different event booked. So, please, don't work with them. Get your money back.
I know I put a lot of different types of examples in this video, but I could have put this same situation over and over again for the entire length. That's how common these scams are becoming. Their coordinator is so unorganized. I did an event with them in 2021 and it was awful. They offered to credit me an event or give me a partial refund and I never got either. Haven't done an event with them since, heard tons of nightmare stories from others.
I swear to God, everyone needs to start complaining to their state attorney general's offices about these BookCon events that people keep on getting absolutely scammed at this year. Because first it was A Million Lives book festival. That was freaking insane. I mean, I would have complained to the Maryland Attorney General's office the second I didn't get my refund. That was crazy. Then it was the one at the Gaylord here in DC as well. Or I think the National Harbor might be in Maryland. And then this Romance Con one that now I'm seeing on my TikTok, like, this is crazy. And it's like so sad to me because it's primarily like women and authors that are getting scammed out of their like hard-earned money, which is really, really sad and just like frankly awful.
Yet another niche at these conventions with a ton of scams. I would say particularly the romance and fantasy genres have seen quite a bit of these types of problems. And I mean, I can make these videos showing different examples. Tons of other people could share their stories on social media, but it kind of just looks like it will keep happening. I have a couple other examples right here. This one's a very odd one. Tourists claim scam over India's artificial snow patch mountain. I don't really know what they were expecting here, but rather than natural snowfall, the area had patches of artificial snow with visitors renting gear and taking photos, making it look like they're in the Alps or something like that. Manali does not receive snowfall throughout the year, and citizens noted that tourists should check details before visiting. Oh man. And we got another one here, short and sweet, with an empty boat show.
Hey, you guys want to see what happens when you don't promote a boat show and no one knows you're having it? It's empty. It's only 2.5 more hours of this nonsense.
Now, I don't doubt that the promotion was probably really bad, but again, with this economy, I don't think too many people are going out and buying boats. So having a whole parking lot full of these boats, I don't know how many customers you're really gonna get. But either way, just a giant waste of time and money. But we could go over to another classic, the water lantern festivals.
Honestly, I wish it was clickbait. It isn't. This is the biggest scam I've ever attended. Just take one look at their website or social media and here is the experience that we had versus what they advertise. I'll tell you what we got. We got a kit that was missing parts, so my partner had to go back and get another kit. We got one pen. They advertised unique stalls, loads of food vendors with a barbecue shack. And this is the price that we were paying.
There are a ton of examples I've seen with these lantern festivals being a scam. Another one kind of similar to that up on screen. What we were expecting seems like a concert with a whole bunch of candles, looks really nice, versus what we got. Something not nearly as nice, but I bet it still cost a pretty penny to get into that venue.
Chainfest was a scam and I'm here to talk about it. I bought VIP tickets the day they were released, $350. Let me tell you guys, VIP did not feel very VIP. The VIP entry and lounge were very overcrowded. Long lines to enter the event line and nowhere to sit. They only had 2 exclusive items in their VIP area, both were not worth the additional cost. Kuru served some school lunch mac and cheese and potatoes, and their Red Lobster biscuit was dry, rubbery, and fishy. Absolutely disgusting. I threw it in the trash. There seemed to be a lot of misunderstanding going on. Many of the people around us were also VIP and thought there was unlimited food items, and even some employees at the booths thought so too. But then other employees said no. It was very confusing. Anyway, they provided these passports that had to be stamped at each booth to make sure that no one gets more than one of each item. VIP had to wait in line with general admission. These lines got so long shortly after the event opened, it made absolutely no sense. Whenever we were purchased the VIP tickets costing us hundreds of dollars, there's usually a VIP express line. But the general admission and VIP mixed together, very strange and disorganized. The one thing that was good about VIP is that it allowed us in 30 minutes early, so my video would see emptier lines. But our friends who were also VIP arrived shortly after and they had to wait in all the extreme lines. They gave up less than an hour of being there, only having tried 2 items and left disappointed. The website and social media promised us gourmet food made with premium ingredients and Michelin star chef collabs. None of that tasted high quality nor special. Many of the items at the booths were just smaller versions of what they normally serve at their restaurants. The theming and idea of the festival was cute, but I definitely fell victims of the marketing. This may be my first and my last time at Chainfest. 1, maybe even 0 out of 5 forts.
I don't know what you were thinking paying $350 for Chainfest, like chain restaurants. You saw Domino's, KFC, all of these plain restaurants that you could go basically any time of the day and purchase virtually exactly what he got. Just seems like a massive waste of money to me. But what I still thought was interesting is that he said he was recording this video 30 minutes early because that was one of the exclusive perks, but there was still a ton of people there. That also meant that they paid over $300 to get a Wendy's burger or some chicken from KFC. So with how ridiculous the festival was, I do have to put some blame on the people who went. You can make a better argument for other festivals we're going to see pretty soon, but to me just sounds like a cash grab for whoever organized this. We can look at some of the comments. You paid $350 to go into any fast food restaurant that you could find on any main street in any major city. Fyre Festival menu, nothing really looked that good, and of course you're not going to get giant portions if you're going from chain restaurant to chain restaurant trying all of their little things, but $350. Even the creator responded 100% scam. Don't let anyone tell you it was not. Even at the regular price, $125 is a scam. Tickets said it was unlimited, agreed, and they all said no, big lie. So it was even more deceit with the organizers. I would definitely put the fault on whoever ran this, but also some of the blame's gotta go for paying this kind of money to go get some McDonald's.
So here's an actual honest review of Panda Fest, unlike some influencers and hosts, cough cough. So the first bite of the day I got was this giant squid for $25. This felt like something somewhat worthy of getting because I don't know where else to find a giant squid in Philly. Also tasted pretty good. It was pretty tender and I like the flavor, but $25 on one thing, crazy. The next bite I got was this giant beef skewer, and if I knew how much it costed, I would never have told my friend to go get it.
This right here, I mean, they were longer. It was $40 for 2 skewers. What the type of rip off this is? Oh my, I thought this giant squid for $25 was like bad. So the mango sticky rice here is $15, but guess what? The Sea Market, the FDR Park that's open every weekend, it is like $6 over there. So we're not getting this here.
So this is much longer of a clip. She goes through a lot of the other vendors showing outrageous prices. I don't know too much about the pricing with the giant squid. I'm not really a fan of seafood, so all of it kind of looks nasty to me. But those 2 beef skewers for $40, let alone the fact in the comments, it's also wild because you have to buy tickets too. It's not a free event. You have to pay to get in to pay for the wildly overpriced food. Wait, you have to spend money to go spend more money? I'm kind of glad I didn't go after seeing this. Agreed with this review. Really disappointed. Felt so robbed. Would not go again unless it's free admission and at another venue. $17 for takoyaki. I hated it. There was a lot of people very mad about this festival as well, but we're going to change gears a little bit lighthearted. Not an actual food festival, but it is food related, and I would say is probably a scam. This guy had a whole compilation of the different cheesy chips, which are just cheesy French fries he was buying throughout all of the football stadiums he was going to. Mind you, this is in the UK with all the memes about their food, so we could see here. Cheesy chips with curry sauce was £5 for this, which actually doesn't look that bad, okay? Then we go to Gloucester City. It's just 2 pieces of basically Kraft singles and some fries, $4.50 there. I don't even know how to say that town. I'm sorry about that. Here's another one. Looks like frozen cheese, $3.50. Here's Barnsley. You just get 1 Kraft single on top of it. Again, not melted. Here's fries with bacon at Bray Wanderers. We got another one at Kingsland Town, $6.50. Another one that I don't know how to say. Sorry, the Town FC, £3 there. there. This one just looks rough at Dundee Athletic, man. That sausage looks so nasty. Here's one at Colwyn Bay, only $1.50, actually pretty cheap compared to the others. Chips, beans, and cheese at Morristown Town, £1. I mean, pretty good deal. It just looks rough. Here's one at Cheltenham Town. It's amazing that almost all of them are not melted at all. Another one at Southport, and the last one at Alfredton FC, £7. Now we're just gonna go straight to the comments because you know what's coming. You guys are just messing with us, right? I mean, this can't actually be real with 30,000 likes. Someone please inform the British that the cheese can be melted. Fries with cold cheese, can't take that country seriously. Does the US need to start sending aid to the UK too? That settles it. I'm moving to England so I can lose weight because apparently there's not much that I will want to eat there. Is the Footy Square the name of a prison? There's thousands of these comments. This was great. And I know he wasn't taking this too seriously either. It was kind of a funny thing that I found because, oh man, did that food look rough.
So Dana and I ventured out to Winston today to go to this Asian festival. What's your opinion, Dana?
They oversold it.
There's no parking. They oversold it. And people are waiting in line for 2 hours for meat on a stick.
It's probably semi-raw
and frozen
for $20.
And frozen.
$2 worth of meat for $20, and you got to wait an hour and a half.
Look at all these people. Look. It's terrible. Don't come. If you have tickets, stay home. Ask for a refund. Yep. By the time you get here tonight, there will be no food.
Yep.
So this one was in North Carolina. I don't know how big this is because there's another clip that I saw. The same exact issue happened with this festival up where I used to live in New Jersey, but same sort of issue. It was packed right off the bat, the amount of money they must have made because you had to pay to get in, let alone overpay for all the food that you had to wait hours online for. And they said it wasn't even good. It was half frozen. Some of the comments, oh my God, we drove 4 hours up there from Conway, South Carolina, and it was the worst thing ever. I paid for some frozen stick for $20 and left 30 minutes later waiting 2 hours for parking and then left a half an hour. That's really, really rough. Very unorganized. We left early and are not going ever again. That event was terrible. Wow, their advertising and marketing was on point though. Almost had me willing to make a 3.5 hour drive. That's exactly how everybody got conned out of those cons that we saw in an older video. We had some people using AI photos for their advertisements, all of them wildly over-promising what there actually was going to be at any of those conventions. And it's the same thing here, but it's just with food. Now, I don't want to say every one of these festivals and conventions are 100% a scam on purpose, but this comment from one of you guys goes with it very well. Unfortunately, everyone thinks they're an event organizer these days, so we just have some people getting wildly over their head, thinking that it'd just be really easy to get a whole bunch of vendors or food trucks, market it really well, like it being an Asian food festival, and then everything would just go off without a hitch. And that's just not what's happening anymore.
All right, y'all, can we take a moment to talk about these scams, these festivals? The Dream Asia Food Festival I went to yesterday, as you can see with my previous post, absolutely horrendous. I don't know what's going on. It just feels like I'm getting scammed left and right by these bar crawls and festivals, food festivals. Oh my God, I don't even know. You can look through all the comments of my previous post on all the things that were wrong with the Asia Food Fest.
So more people are starting to realize that a lot of these events aren't really going that great. Adding on top of it, it's wildly overpriced. We have a clip up here from a different Dream Asia Food Fest. This one was at the Giant Stadium in New Jersey. So I don't know if this is a traveling event and it's happening all over the country, but there was definitely a good amount of people that were pretty angry for their $20 skewers and just the prices they had to pay. Worst food festival I've been to, too expensive and long waits. These prices are about the same as what the vendors at Common Roots Festival in Durham charged. So there's another one in North Carolina. All the food trucks are just a ripoff these days. Went yesterday and it was terrible. Would have a better experience eating at an H Mart, but we'll go back to the last clip.
Then maybe a couple weeks ago for Cinco de Mayo, I went to a taco and margarita bar crawl in Raleigh, and the tacos weren't even good. It was literally tortillas were store-bought. The chicken didn't have any flavor. They didn't even have enough. The drinks were not that great. We went to the last venue that we went to that we were told we'd get a gift card or something if we completed it, if we scanned the last QR code. they were like, we don't even have a QR code and we have no idea what you're talking about.
Real quick, we can look at the comments here. I keep seeing how bad it was, and I'm happy I didn't go. If you just stick to the free events, you'll be fine. The food truck festival never disappoints. I mean, a lot of people were complaining about how expensive those food trucks were. It is definitely better that you didn't have to pay to go in, but it doesn't make the food trucks cheaper overall. Never forget the Harry Potter bar crawl in Raleigh back in 2018 that ended up on BuzzFeed. It was terrible. There's other clips similar to what she said with the Cinco de Mayo tacos and another person. Tacos and tequila was a big scam. I think we're starting to get to the stage where the food trucks and all of these events are pricing out a lot of the people who liked it to begin with. It was pretty weird to go get food from a food truck instead of going to a restaurant. Oh, they had pretty good prices, and wow, the food's pretty good. Popularity starts growing, that now there's events for it. Food trucks are at almost any sporting event. Now the prices start going up, and now you have to pay just to get into the area where the food trucks are. Long lines make you wait for hours and hours, and these places are pumping out so much food so quickly that the quality is going down and you're getting a half-frozen beef skewer. I think this clip also goes very well. Paid $400 just to make $79. This is what -$dollars an hour looks like. So initially these vendors, these food trucks have to pay the organizer just to be there overall. So clearly seems like these people were misled. Nobody's here and they ended up losing money until you start looking at some of the comments. Zoomed in on the sign, it said $8.50 for a raspberry tea, which is completely outrageous. Food trucks lost the plot, just like fast food. It was supposed to be lower cost versions of restaurant meals. They convinced themselves that they really enjoy quirky paint jobs and eating standing up. $25 to enter these festivals plus parking fees, no thanks. $4 for boiled water and a tea bag, maybe because your lattes are more expensive than Starbucks. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not paying $15 for a smoothie. And we're gonna end off with something that isn't 100% related to these food festivals, but is definitely in the same kind of area.
So I'm at the farmer's market. When did it become so expensive to shop at farmers markets? I seem to remember getting a grip of produce for like 20 bucks years ago. Now it's just an excuse for yuppies to spend oodles of money. $3 for a bunch of green onions, $10 for a dozen eggs.
I definitely understand what he's talking about. My local farmer's market, virtually everything is way more expensive than going to Walmart or Target or any other random grocery store. I don't know, I feel like there's a bubble and eventually it's going to pop unless they bring these prices down and start organizing these festivals way better, because it really does not look worth it anymore.
I should have listened to y'all and not went, because this was an absolute scam. It took us an hour to get there and then 45 minutes to park because they didn't know where to put us. Once you walk down these hot steps in the blazing sun, here's the two issues I noticed. Look at how packed the area is by the stage. Nowhere to breathe. Then we had to go through this one tiny little gate to get in. We encountered several issues just getting into the event, and I should have listened to that woman that was leaving and said, don't even waste your time. But we finally got down on the racetrack, only to realize we still have to walk a million miles in the sun to even get to the event. They had that one little sign, which was kind of cute, but we were too hot to even take pictures. Once you get in, they literally had nothing. They had a few areas that were selling food. No funnel cake, no nothing fun, just tacos and vibes. Literally it was so hot we just found somewhere to sit in the shade to cool off. As you can see, everyone is trying to do the same thing. We're nowhere near the stage. I mean, at least I got these cool tacos, but yeah, 0 out of 10 experience. Would not recommend.
I would also like to know the price of those tacos, because as we're going to see in this video, I bet they were ridiculous. But any sort of festival at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the summer, you are asking to get melted by the sun. And it seems like that's the only thing you actually could have done. Really nothing to do there other than hide in the shade. And you also had to pay for this event. This was not free. Now, I was trying to look up the ticket prices online, anywhere from $10 all the way up to $550. So there is a wide range that I'm seeing, but it doesn't matter. Even if it was 10 bucks, it does not look worth it to me. And this was not a one-off video. There were a ton of them that I was seeing, people saying that this was just a scam, complete waste of time. And I asked you guys, were there any events like this that I missed? And oh boy, were there a lot of comments. There's been a lot of Christmas events here in the UK that have been a total disaster. Pokemon Go Fest in 2017, the Asian Collective Night Market in Maryland, August of 2022, huge disaster. They oversold the tickets, lines to get foods were hours and hours long, wasn't enough space. Pokeverse in the Philippines, either last year or 2023. A hot dog restaurant in Vegas held a Bluey event that was underwhelmingly bad. The Insidious interactive horror play back in January, February, total disaster, to the point where they had the whole tour shut down. Bluey and Christmas themed events, again. Look up Universal FanCon in 2018, Kickstarter funded event in Chicago that had big guests booked and was canceled a week before. We could really just keep going on and on.
Welcome to the worst anime con ever. We have a half-empty hall filled with angry artists and vendors. When booking this con, we were told that the projected attendance for this LA Convention Center con would be a projected attendance of 25 to 30,000 people with a confirmed 13,000 tickets confirmed to be sold. The reality was far from that. All 3 days were maybe 1,000 unique attendees, and the anime and tattoo were just jammed into one small hall, when we were told that it would be taking place over multiple halls at the LA Convention Center.
I'm trying to understand what happened, because renting out even a part of the LA Convention Center cannot be cheap. I mean, the advertising could have been absolutely abysmal, but clearly lying about the amount of tickets sold, 13,000 down to maybe 1,000. My guess would be the organizers were just trying to pocket all the money that the booths had to pay to set up all of their stuff. But then again, it goes back to renting out the space even just for a couple days. I feel like would eat away at the profits pretty heavily, right? But yet another similar situation to the Books a Million event we saw a few months ago. This one's just anime, and a lot of the vendors just completely got screwed. Some of the comments, the inflatable archway with just anime across the top is sending me. I could tell you there was little to no advertising for this event. There you go. I've never heard of it. Now that I'm watching it again, 1,000 attendees feel like a generous estimation. Another comment from you guys: what isn't a scam these days? Everyone is literally scamming anybody they can to make more money. Humanity is slowly disappearing, and we're doing it to ourselves. One event or convention at a time.
I went to Roots Picnic Day 1, and this is by far the worst experience I've ever had at a music festival or a concert. Doors were supposed to open at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, after people have already been there since 11 o'clock waiting, they posted on their Instagram that doors open at 2. They said they needed some extra time because of the rain last night to clean up the picnic grounds. We got there at 4 o'clock and doors were not open yet. We were in a crowd with thousands of people, no bathroom in sight, nobody was there, no staff was there to tell us any updates or tell us what was going on. Nobody was handing out water or food. We was just stuck in a crowd for hours. It didn't matter if it was general admission plus, VIP. Some people paid $1,600 for this ticket and they had to stand outside. Mind you, it was pouring rain. Multiple times it rained and stopped and rained and stopped. At first, I thought the line was moving, but in reality, a lot of people were just leaving. Hundreds of people was just leaving in packs because they was tired of waiting 3, 4, 5 hours for the doors to open.
Now I know the rain definitely throws a wrench into the whole situation, but imagine standing out there for 5 hours after you paid $1,600 for a ticket. Are you kidding me? That's the top comment right there, 1,600 American dollars. No hand washing station, that's against the law. Class action lawsuit immediately. I can understand that the organization can't control the weather, but I also understand that they could plan for weather. That's what I was saying.
I recently attended the Water Lantern Festival in Edmonton, and I'll never go back again. The whole thing felt like a scam. When you get there, there's no proper directions of where to park. There's no directions of how to get to the park from your parking lot. When you finally get there, the lineup to the food trucks was so long. People were waiting an hour to 2 hour wait. Most of the entertainment was only one side of the pond, and so the other side, where most of the people were, didn't know what was going on.
Now this one's a little bit more of a widespread issue when it comes to these water lantern festivals. Now that clip was in Edmonton, this next one up on screens in Nottingham, and they all kind of had the same issues. I guess this has grown in popularity because it's probably a really good picture for Instagram. You know, all the lanterns lit up at night, that's probably a great photo op. And then you have people who think that they could organize it wherever they live, make some money from the people attending, and it just does not work out. Yep, totally agree, very underwhelming, and they have a photo with just a few lanterns sitting in a lake. Finally, someone who agrees with us. Oh dear, you should have just gone fishing. But going back to what she said about the food trucks having to wait hours and hours just to get something to eat, we could talk about that a little bit more. When they tell me to go to hell, but I'm working at a poorly attended food truck festival in the middle of a dusty field. Seems like it's a similar situation to the anime convention, but we go right over to the comments because everyone wants $15 to $20 for one chicken sandwich and no sides. I know business businesses have it hard, and I definitely try to support local, but a lot of the food trucks have lost the plot. They're charging as much as a sit-down restaurant for food that's quite comparable, but no seating, AC, refilled drinks, etc. Food is usually too expensive for what's served, and they're always extremely limited seating, if any at all. Just comment after comment like that because food trucks have restaurant prices without refills, convenience, and here's an example of it on screen. These food truck places have to be stopped. $31 for this, and they didn't even tell me how much the cake was until they charged me. Another comment from you guys. There was a New York City pizza festival in 2017 where the tickets were as much as $75 and people were given small cold slices of plain pizza. Now this is a different pizza event up on screen right now that had very similar issues. You can go right over to the comments. I didn't get one slice of pizza. It was insane. An absolute health hazard. Most of my group had one slice after an hour and we gave up. Made our own food crawl instead. Given how much of the promotional material for this event was AI slop, huge red flag, this felt inevitable. Basically Indy's version of the Willy Wonka debacle from a couple of years ago. We went over that in an older video. It was terrible. We contacted Tommy, which I guess was the event organizer, and asked for a refund and explained the many different reasons as to why we should receive it, and all he did was defend himself. Didn't even apologize. This was clearly a cash grab. Now we could take a look at one of these food events in San Francisco.
They went to Foodie Land in San Francisco, so you don't have to. And let's just dive straight in. The food was mid. I'm gonna be honest, and it just really was not my thing at all. There was nothing that stood out to me. These soup dumplings were a solid 4 or 5 out of 10 at best. The skin was just way too thick. The flavors in the classic xiaolong bao were just not doing what they're supposed to do. The potato swirly thing, we got the barbecue flavor and it was so mid once again. I had such high hopes for the lumpia. I love lumpia so much, and I was so disappointed by this. It honestly was a 2 out of 10. My face just says it all. I'm pissed. I was so excited for this next thing though, because I was sure this was going to redeem the whole of Foodie Land for me. I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but this stick was $30 for fruit and some sugar.
$30 for the stick of fruit. I can't even imagine the rest of it then. And to top it off, some of these places with already outrageous prices make you pay just to walk into the event. A similar example from you guys here. We had a grilled cheese fest here a few years ago. It was $25 just to get into the door. Then people waited hours to overpay for what were basically mediocre grilled cheese samples. Then they ran out of food while people with tickets were still waiting to get in. I don't know how people keep getting sucked into these shows. Well, in the next clip, we could see some of the prices these people are paying.
Foodie Land is coming back to Houston from Friday to Sunday this weekend, but it's also pretty overpriced. Starting off with this spam musubi, we rated this a 7.5 out of 10. It tasted good, but $10 is crazy. Next, we tried this spicy chicken katsu sando. This was pretty good, but it was $16. Again, like I said, it tasted good. I just can't justify that price tag. It was super hot last year, so we had to get a drink. We ended up getting this mango peach tea that came in this like bear container. Guys, it was $25. $25. My girlfriend rated this a 9 out of 10. She loves sweets, so that's to be expected. I rated this a 4 out of 10. I thought it tasted like type 2 diabetes in a cup. 100,000% not worth it. We also got this basil pesto pasta for $22. Keep in mind, this is just pasta, pesto, some sun-dried tomatoes. No meat, no nothing. $22. 100% guarantee the upcharge is just because they tossed the noodles in this little cheese wheel for like 2 seconds.
I think everything that he showed was pretty ridiculous, but $25 for that drink, I would lose my mind. And speaking of losing my mind, this comment I almost can't believe. After hearing the Food Channel talk about Memphis in May, barbecue cook-off for years, we bought airline tickets for the event, and booked our hotel and rental care. We found out at the time of admission that you can't eat from anyone cooking or competing. You could only eat if you're a guest of one of the companies sponsoring a competitor. There was a tiny tent to buy small sample cups of different kinds of meat. Talk about being angry. Nowhere on the website did it say anything about not being able to taste the competition food. It was the lamest thing we have ever attended. Cost us a couple thousand back in 2010. There was a lot of replies to this with people talking about how crazy this was as well. Sounds like an absolutely massive scam to get people to go, even though they couldn't have any of the food that they wanted. I would be absolutely livid. And we're going to finish off with a clip that isn't technically a scam, but honestly, for the price and the rules, I do not find it worth it, and I just had to put it in.
$400 is how much it costs for 2 tickets to the Meat Carnival, where there are no plates and no utensils. You eat with your hands. Do you think it was worth $200 each? Let us know. Germaphobes, start your breathing exercises. We started off with monkey bread filled with shredded beef, topped with either an eggplant sauce or a scallion sauce. Right away, we know Meat Carnival means business. This picanha and summer bean salad got our hands dirty and our tummies smiling.
Okay, so they start running through what they ate. They had a lot of food, they enjoyed it. It seemed like they were having a good time and it was worth it for them. And I'm not going to say that I'm a germaphobe, but going to a public event like that and only being able to eat with your hands with just a bunch of strangers on top of having to pay $200 doesn't seem like my kind of festival. The first comment puts it perfectly. Everybody licking their fingers and then grabbing. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I wouldn't cope at all with using my hands this much. I feel like I would try to sneak in a fork or a spoon, something. And that's what the next comment said. Low-key would bring my own fork. But we'll finish off this video with a comment from one of you guys. Grifting has truly become a profession. They're no longer bashful about it. It's genuinely a career path now because rarely is there accountability for defrauding consumers anymore. I mean, con this, con that. It's in the name, people. Because I bet I can make this a regular series on this channel every couple of months. I search up on TikTok, online, seeing what conventions went underwater, and this or that festival is a scam, don't go to it, over and over again, taking so many people's money.
They're calling this event that happened yesterday the Fyre Fest of book talk, and I haven't seen any mainstream press about it, and I'd really like to be able to help some of the authors affected, so let's talk about this. The event was called A Million Lives. It was in the making for about a year and a half.
I planned my pregnancy around this event like a clown.
But it looks like it was thrown together in 45 minutes. Like, even the Willy Wonka experience had decor. This was advertised as a black tie ball. But that's not even the most egregious part, because this was part of a whole weekend for romance and fantasy authors, wherein the authors paid to be able to sell their books at this event. But really, there were more authors than there were participants, and everyone lost money.
I lost nearly $3,000 on this trip.
I am now out about $2,000.
The person who put this together is also an author. She writes under the name Grace Willows, which makes this way sadder to me. But the company she did this under, Archer Events, she deleted most of their socials.
So this being hosted by another author, I think is insane. A good amount of the time when it comes to these types of issues, the person who's running the event is just trying to get a quick cash grab and then bounce. Apparently this taking a year and a half to set up and clearly looked like an empty convention hall with a couple of tables, and hiding all your social media is never a good sign. A lot of the authors being out thousands of dollars, let alone having to travel to this event. We could take a look at the comment section. It's called The Fantasy Ball because you have to fantasize the rest. Can't believe they thought it was okay. Every single person should get a refund. I mean, we're too early into the story to actually see if people are getting their money back, hopefully. This makes the Willy Wonka experience in Scotland look good because it was decorated. This looks like a cafeteria. So I think that's a pretty good transition into the next one.
Imagine being advertised this, paying $40 for entry, and then seeing this.
That's what happened in Willy's Chocolate Experience immersive event in Glasgow, Scotland, inspired by but not affiliated with the Wonka franchise. The event organizers apparently used artificial intelligence to generate promotional images that suggested a very high quality attraction. However, parents were horrified when they showed up to this, a mostly empty warehouse with scattered tapestries and decorations. The best way to describe this is something that you would see at a birthday party, rather than a big extravaganza, one participant noted. It's being called the Fyre Fest of immersive events.
I do want to butt in because this is the second time they've talked about Fyre Fest in these clips. I would say probably the most well-known. It was in the news for a long time. It's actually in the news somewhat recently because the same guy who tried to scam a ton of people out of money the first time, I believe went to prison for a little while and is trying to do it again. I think it's another mess of a situation. He's trying to sell it off to somebody else. I mean, just unbelievable, really. But the Willy Wonka experience definitely does not get better.
Police were even called to the scene, and parents said that their children were in tears. We were told to hand a couple of kids jelly beans and a quarter cup of lemonade at the end, one employee said. After an immediate and angry response from early arrivals who demanded their money back, the event was shut down midday. However, the organizers failed to inform later attendees, some of who had traveled long distances and are now demanding their train costs be refunded too. Organizers House of Illuminati apologized for the, quote, stressful and frustrating day and confirmed that full refunds would be given to customers, which could take up to 10 days. How would you feel if you paid $40 for this event?
So, I mean, hopefully there's somewhat of a positive ending, at least getting a refund. You're probably just going to get the $40 back, though. Any of the cost of traveling is just on you. We could go even more in depth on this event. I mean, some of the memes that came out were so funny. Random creepy characters scaring children that weren't related to Willy Wonka at all, which in the first place, you're skirting around the copyright there because they weren't actually affiliated. We could look at some of the comments, though. Apparently AI. There's a floating legless child in one of the pictures. So even the random images that were pinned up against the wall were made by AI. A quarter cup of lemonade. You can't convince me this wasn't a social experiment. And then we have a comment connecting it to another event, Dashcon 2014.
Welcome back to Unearthing Ancient Tumblr Memes that probably shouldn't be unearthed. Today we are talking about the Tumblr meme that Tumblr never meant to make. Dashcon 2014. One time, Tumblr thought that they should throw their own con. It went exactly as well as you would expect. The organizers for the con only paid 50% for the venue up front. They said they paid the other 50% after they got door sales, and they estimated that between 5,000 to 7,000 people were going to show up to this con. So when like 500 people showed up to the con the first day, the venue demanded all of the money up front. So day one of this underwhelming con, they ushered all the attendees into one room and said if we don't raise $17,000 in the next hour, the con will end. And somehow they did it. They raised $17,000. $17,000 for a con that was an absolute disaster. They weren't able to pay like any of the guests that came, so one of the biggest podcasts, Welcome to Night Vale, bailed. No refunds for the people who came for the canceled panel. They offered 1 extra hour in this ball pit. The
ball pit also became a huge meme. There was a little bit more to that $17,000 raised in 1 hour by only 500 people, apparently. It looked like the founders actually had the money. They were just trying to extract even more out of the few people that showed up. I mean, what, 10%? Less than 10% of the people that they promised were going to be there actually went. So we go from this event with nobody showing up to the exact opposite. And a comment connecting the next clip, TanaCon, but make it Tumblr.
On April 2nd, 2018, YouTuber Tana Mojo announced that she got banned from VidCon. Tana explained the idea of holding her own convention, at the same time as VidCon, near VidCon, and make it affordable. She wanted to make a better VidCon out of spite, and many YouTubers were on her side. A man by the name of Michael Wiest reached out to Tana about making TanaCon a real thing. Michael owned a company called Good Times Entertainment, and Tana had been to one of the company's smaller events, so she trusted Michael and agreed to the partnership. Many of Tana's friends warned her about Michael, but Tana didn't listen and said she wanted to, quote, prove them all wrong. Tana announced TanaCon as well as the featured creators that would be there. She posted about how TanaCon had free admission, or you could pay $65 to get VIP. On the first day, TanaCon was scheduled to open at 6 a.m., but the doors weren't open until 8:50 a.m. When the TanaCon doors were finally open, the line just kept getting longer and more people weren't being let in. People were getting impatient.
So we go from barely anybody showing up and then having to shell out thousands of extra dollars just to keep Dashcon alive for one more day, to TanaCon with free admission, and clearly a ton of people are going to show up because of it. I think it's interesting that this entire thing was just made out of spite. She definitely knew in the back of her mind the organizer was some sort of a scammer with all of her friends warning her about it, but she just wanted to stick it in VidCon's face, and because of that, this whole thing turns into an absolute mess.
A 14-year-old who had made it inside of TanaCon had to be taken to the hospital because she was knocked down. Thankfully, she only faced minor injuries. People began to throw trash everywhere. The staff gave out some TanaCon merch to calm people down, but people were mad because these were not the gift bags that Tana had promised. The staff talked to people with microphones and megaphones, but the people just kept chanting things such as, "We want refunds," or "We want Tana." The inside of TanaCon wasn't going so great either. The hallways were so flooded that security made it a rule that you could not sit down. And if you left the inside of TanaCon, you couldn't get back in. This was a problem because TanaCon didn't have any food inside. People started noticing that they didn't see any free badges. The only ones they saw were VIP badges. The meet and greets were messed up. There were originally spots for 500 people, but it changed to 150. At 1:44 p.m., it was revealed that the fire department was shutting this event down. The reason being that the hotel could only hold around 1,000 people, but TanaCon had an estimated 5,000 people show up.
I mean, this is a YouTuber, especially at that time, I believe she was more popular than she is now, but still millions of subscribers, and you thought only 1,000 people were going to show up? Whether you like it or not, these big social media influencers are the modern day celebrities. Not even having food in the event, and basically no other option than to just stand around in the hotel, because if you walk out to get food, you're not getting back in. Almost all of these events we're talking about were years apart from each other. It's not like in a 6-month or maybe 1 or 2 year time frame, all of these conventions just popped up out of nowhere and they all became a disaster. You could have learned from the previous experience, but no, virtually the same thing happened every time, including this last one.
A Bridgerton-themed ball in Detroit has gone viral for how tragic it was. The event, dubbed Glasgow Wonka Experience 2.0, charged guests between $150 and $1,000, promising an evening of sophistication, grace, and historical charm. Guests expected a costume contest with a $2,000 prize, classical music, a theatrical show, and the naming of a Diamond of the Season, like in the Netflix series. Instead, guests said that the Regency-era entertainment turned out to be a lone stripper performing on a pole to the music of a single violinist, and guests ended up just sitting on the floor on their phones. The decor was described as dollar store level, yet guests still had to pay $40 to have their photos taken on thrones that looked like they were ordered off Temu. Photos of the dinner show an underwhelming dish that reportedly ran out after an hour, and some of it was raw. There was no alcohol served, and instead guests received this bright blue drink. The company behind the event, Uncle and Me LLC, branded itself as family-owned event management before taking down its website after the backlash. Originally, the event was scheduled to take place in August at a different venue, but was postponed when they failed to pay in full. Either way, I'm hoping the stripper becomes as big a star as Sad Oompa Loompa and The Unknown.
I like how all of these events are connected in some way because of the horror stories we see online. But like I said before, I would like to think that this wouldn't happen again, especially with the amount of stories online for everybody to see, including getting into the mainstream news. But every couple of years or so, something comes up and the exact same thing happens again. I'm actually pretty surprised that somebody hasn't done some sort of a rip-off Pokemon one. I think if Nintendo actually ran the convention, it would go pretty well. But in the same way they skirted the copyright with Willy Wonka in Scotland, it seems like it's only a matter of time when some scammer will come along trying to get all the Pokemon fans, and then we'll have another story to talk about, I guess. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.